Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more rifle testing. And we've definitely got an interesting combination out here today, and it's one that a lot of you guys really seem to like, and it's definitely one that I have a pretty fun time shooting and seeing what it can do as well. So, picked up a new box of ammo, figured I'd bring it out here, test it, and see what we could do. So for the setup I've got out here today, I brought back out this guy. This is my Ruger M77 Mark II Compact, chambered in 7mm-08 or 708, however you prefer to pronounce it. And up on top is a Nikon P tactical scope. It's a 3-9x40, so nothing too special, but plenty good enough for what this rifle is able to do. So definitely pretty small little handy rifle here. It does have the shorter barrel on it. I think it's either a 20 or a 22 inch barrel. So definitely a pretty compact little rig here, and one that we should be able to get some decent performance out of. And as for the ammunition I've brought out here today, I've got a box of this. This is the Winchester Power-Point 7mm-08 here. It's a 140 grain projectile. And it says here on the back down here that it's supposed to be going 2,800 feet per second at the muzzle. Now, we know that the chances of us seeing that in this short compact barrel are slim, but if it does actually reach this posted velocity, that'd be nice. But chances are we won't see that 2,800 that's on the box out of this particular setup. So as for the testing, we're going to do it the same way we usually test our rifles. I've got a target set up at 100 yards. We'll shoot 3 groups, 3 shots each. And of course, I have the chronograph as well, so we'll be able to see our speeds, get our average, how close it is to the box, and our energy numbers. And then after we shoot them, we'll bring them up here to the bench and we'll measure them with my calipers and see what kind of accuracy we were actually able to get out of them. So with that being said, let's get you guys set up with a view of the target and the chrono and start shooting these groups and see what we can get out of these Winchester Power-Point 140 grainers. Okay, so let's take a look at our chronograph numbers here real quick. And clearly, we had some errors go across there. The clouds came in and the sun was hitting the tops of the trees this afternoon, which probably threw the lighting off a little bit. It is what it is, but I'll go through real quick and delete the obvious errors, and we'll take a look at our 3 or 4 good chronograph numbers that we did actually have. Okay, so I went through and deleted all the clear and obvious errors, which left us with 4 chronograph numbers, and I believe it's about accurate. So let's scroll through here and see what it actually gave us. So for a high, we had 2424. For a low, we had 2188. That gave us an average of 2301 with an extreme spread of 236 and a standard deviation of 92. So not necessarily the most consistent rounds, and I think our target kind of shows that, to be honest with you. But like I said earlier, 2,800 that's posted on the box, we were definitely not going to see that out of this shorter compact barrel. So I mean, 2,300-ish, that's about what I expected to see from a 140 grain out of that particular setup. So yes, it is moving a little bit slow, but for a deer, absolutely good enough all day long. So it kind of is what it is on this one. But let's take a look at our target and see what kind of accuracy we had. Alright, so now let's take a look at our target here and see what it gave us. And I gotta say, right off the bat, it's not very impressive. Now, first off, ignore this bullet hole right down here. It's from a previous test, and at some point while we were shooting this test, the sticker I had on it fell off, so that bullet hole right there is not part of this test at all. Now, our first group was the group up in the top left, and it was a little bit off the target edge, but this is not the round that this gun is zeroed with, but it is what it is, I suppose. We can still see all 3 of our shots, and believe it or not, that's probably the best group of the day, our first group, even though it's still not super impressive. But let's measure it and see what that first group in the top left gave us. Okay, so that first group gave us a 1.45 inch group there. 1.5 inches not super impressive. Definitely not the best we've seen. Would it do the job if you had it for deer hunting? Yeah, absolutely. Out to 100 yards, it would take a deer, no problem. Is it great? Absolutely not. And I think we can do a whole lot better. I was hoping for a little bit better, but that's the way it goes sometimes, I guess. And I think that might be our best group of the day, unfortunately, but let's move over to our second group in the top right and see what that one gave us for a measurement. All right, so our second group gave us 2.10. Definitely not great. 2 inches, again, good enough for deer hunting, but not a load that I would particularly want to use unless that's all I had. So definitely not anything impressive there, that's for sure. So I suppose let's move on to our third and final group down there in the middle and measure that one. I think it's a little bit better than that 2.1 inches, but I don't think it's much better. So let's measure it anyway and see what it gave us. Okay, so that third and final group gave us a 1.50 for group size, 1.5 inches, a little bit worse than our first group, and definitely still not anything amazing. Good enough to do the job, but not my preferred type of performance. So overall here, definitely a little bit of a disappointment, I gotta say. Now that rifle may just not like those Winchester Power-Point loads, or it may not like the heavier 140 grain stuff. It might like the little bit lighter stuff. I don't know. Definitely a little bit of a disappointment, and I was definitely hoping for better. All right, y'all. Well, as the evening comes to a close here, what do you guys think about that performance? Definitely not great. It's not terrible, I wouldn't say, but it's absolutely nothing impressive. If that's all you had available and you were trying to take a deer at 100 yards, it would work, but definitely not a load that I would prefer to take out, that's for sure. And I definitely think we can do a whole lot better with this rifle. Now, whether or not that's the type of ammunition we're shooting, the grain weight of bullet, or something to do with maybe free floating that fore end on that gun, we'll see what happens, I suppose. I guess we just need to continue testing and see what it likes and what it doesn't like and how it acts going forward. But as always, let me know your thoughts about it in the comments. Is that about what you expected to see? Were you hoping for a little bit better? And if you've shot these Winchester Power-Point 140s through a setup similar to this, what has been your experience with them? Let me know all that down in the comments. But with that being said, I've got more testing coming y'all's way with some new loads and chokes and stuff like that as well. So stay tuned. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send things to the channel if you'd like. So all that information will be in the description if you're interested. But with that being said, I'm going to get back to it. So I'll see y'all in the next one.